Hey YouTube, Spaceboy here. I'm going to do some unboxing, a little bit of show and tell, show you some of the pickups that I've received over the past week or so. So first of all, got another package from Japan. I've opened it already, tested it and things like that, but I thought since it's a pickup video that I could show you this one. So in total I paid £13 for this. Super Famicom from Japan again. Works perfectly, really nice and clean, a bit yellow, but I can live with that. The Famicom is one of the best, Super Famicom, one of the best consoles that you can buy for playing import games on, because it's so easy to get up and running. It takes a Mega Drive power supply, DC. A lot of people say that the Super Nintendo power supply, the UK one, works, but it doesn't. If you try and use a UK power supply, eventually the console will pack up. It'll work for a little while, but it will pack up eventually. But the Mega Drive power supply, or Master System power supply for the original Mega Drive, works perfectly. And as I've got a few of those laying around, and that's fairly easy to get up and running. So we've got that. That goes with all the other Super Famicom games that I've been buying over the past couple of weeks. I've ended up with like Mario Kart and things like that. Really cheap. As I say, 13 quid including post, which is brilliant. I've also been buying Game Gears. Got two here, one of which I've changed the caps, and I'll explain about that in a minute, one of which I haven't yet, but it does work. So I bought both of those. One of those was £4, the one that I changed the caps in, that was £4. This one was £7, and then I bought quite a few Game Gear games, and it's a little bit like the Game Boy. These games are fairly cheap, but I really like them. They're different. I grew up with the Game Gear, with the Game Boy. Never had a Game Gear, it was too expensive to run, whereas now I think if you're a bit electronic savvy, you can buy one. Every Game Gear that you buy is going to need recapping, basically, which means you've got to open it up, and on the board there's various different electronic components that you've got to change. Before you've done that, this one, it powers on, you get a light and the game appears, but you can't see the screen properly and you can't hear it, there's no audio. When we've finished recapping, the Game Gear looks like that, and plays fantastic versions of Sonic. Most of the Sega classics are on there. The components will cost you about £5 to change a Game Gear. These Game Gear games, so £4 for one Game Gear, £7 for the other. The Game Gear games are very cheap as well. I bought 15 for £10, and then it was £4 postage, so roughly £1 a game. So I've got Super Monaco GP, Shinobi 2, that's an original Sonic, that's Pop Hills, which is like a funky Japanese puzzler, which is really cool. Never seen that before, and I've played that quite a bit now. Really like it. G-Lock Air Battle, Shinobi, the original one, Ninja Gaiden. We got Donald Duck Lucky Dime Caper, Jungle Book, Halo Wars, which is really good, or Halley Wars, I don't know how you say that, but Halley Wars. I really like that. It reminds me of the Treasure shooters, but like on a cut down scale for the Game Gear. So that's really good. Chuck Rock. Some people really love this game. Me, I've never really been a fan. It's a little bit too Amiga like for me. But Chuck Rock there. Spider-Man. Mickey's Castle of Illusion. I really love the Mega Drive Mickey Mouse games. Really love them. I find this really difficult to play on the Game Gear, I have to admit. It's probably because I'm getting old and my eyesight's not very good, but not a great game for the Game Gear. Psychic World, I think, is a much better platformer. That works quite well. And then the old classic Columns. So all in all, Game Gear games are very cheap, and I think it's because not many people have got a working Game Gear. So there's lots of people getting rid of games, a lot of people would love to collect Game Gear, but are unsure about how they go about finding a working one. Now, as I said, I've got a working one there. That works lovely. I'm just going to give you a burst of the Sega again. That works lovely, really fun to play. Not as bad on batteries as I was led to believe, actually. I think it's because modern batteries have got much better. So that's one Game Gear there. This one I'm going to refurb. It's a little bit bashed up. It's got leaderboard in there at the minute, but that's just to keep the cart slot clean. The screen's not too scratched at all, but I am going to change the screen on this because I've never changed the screen on a Game Gear before. And I'm going to do a little bit of modification to the caps that are on the board. In order to do that, on the first one that I bought, I went online and I sourced all the caps separately, and it cost me quite a lot. And I've come to the conclusion that actually, because there's some caps on here that are quite difficult to get hold of, it's well worth buying one of the packs that are on eBay that've got all the caps in there. So what I've done is buy a pack. It's actually come from Console Expert, who are in France. So they've sent this across, and the caps end up costing £5 each. But what I'm really pleased about is the caps are all quite small. So they've been really careful to source quite small caps. These are capacitors that go inside, and these are the bits that need replacing. In the 1990s there was a problem with the capacitors that were being used in electronics, and a lot of them leak, so you've got to replace those. The trouble is, a lot of the caps you can find are very big. These are quite small, so I'm very impressed. I've got a whole kit, enough to change all the caps on the audio and the video component boards inside there, and that was a £5. And at the same time, what I bought was a new screen lens. So it doesn't seem to be, it doesn't seem to be the same as the old one. So if you look carefully, it's not quite the same in terms of the graphics. Not quite the same, and also it's quite thin and flimsy. But once it's on there, I don't think you'll be able to tell the difference. The reason why I bought that is because while I was opening up, some people, they scrape the side of the screen with a knife, flip it up and replace it. The trouble with that is one slip and you've damaged the console, and both the Game Gears, although they're not perfect, they're in quite good condition. I don't want to do that, so what I'm going to do is, while I've got the board out to do the capacitors, I'm going to take the board out, flip the screen from the other side, pop my new one in there, and then hopefully I'll have as close to a new Game Gear as I can get. So that's it. So at the minute I'm in Game Gear heaven. Got myself quite a little stash here. And a few swaps too, as I'm trading out my swaps for other stuff. Got another set of swaps there that I can get rid of that came with this pack too. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Subscribe and stuff if you want to. And until next time, peace.